Amara left her village of Umadim 6 years ago for Spain. She was 22, bright-eyed, and desperate. Her mother was sick. Her father had abandoned them. Her younger brother Ifani was just 12. She promised to send money home every month. And she kept that promise. For 6 years, she worked 2 jobs, cleaning houses during the day, caring for the elderly at night. She sent money for her mother's hospital bills, for Ifani's school fees, for the new roof on their family home. She sacrificed everything, her youth, her dreams of marriage, her own health. Every night, she called home and heard her mother's voice, "We are fine. God bless you, my daughter." She believed them. She had no reason not to. But 6 years later, when she finally returned to Umadim, what she found made her question everything. "My name is Amara. I left Umadim village 6 years ago with nothing but a small bag and a broken heart. My mother was sick, so sick the local hospital said she needed specialist care in the city. My father had left us when I was 16, tired of poverty, tired of responsibility. My younger brother Ifani was just 12 years old, too young to walk, too young to understand why his father had abandoned him. I was 22. I had no degree, no connections, no hope except one. My aunt in Madrid said she could get me a job. I borrowed money for the plane ticket from a woman in the village who charged me interest so high it made me cry. But I paid it. I paid everything. Because that is what daughters do. That is what sisters do. We carry what others cannot carry. For 6 years, I worked 2 jobs in Madrid. During the day, I cleaned houses for wealthy Spanish families who barely looked at me. At night, I cared for elderly people who sometimes forgot my name but remembered to be kind. I sent money home every single month. Not sometimes. Not when I had extra. Every month. I calculated the exchange rate in my head before I fell asleep. I knew exactly how many euros became how many naira. I knew what the money was for: my mother's blood pressure medication, Ifani's school fees, the new roof that the last rainy season had almost destroyed. I stopped buying new clothes for myself. I stopped going out with friends. I stopped dreaming about marriage and children. Those things were for other girls. My job was to send money. And I did it. I did it well. Every night, I called home. My mother's voice was my medicine. "Amara, my daughter, we are fine. God bless you. Don't work too hard. Eat well." I would cry after some calls. Not because I was sad, because I missed her so much it felt like a physical wound. Ifani would sometimes get on the phone. His voice changed over the years, from the high pitch of a boy to the deep rumble of a man. "Sister, I passed my exams. Sister, I want to study engineering. Sister, when are you coming home?" I told him soon. I told him soon every time. Because I believed that soon, the money I had saved would be enough. That soon, my mother would be healthy. That soon, I could stop running. I did not know that while I was running, the ground beneath my feet was being dug away by the very hounds I was feeding. In the 6th year, something shifted. My mother stopped talking about her health. She stopped asking for money for specific things. She would just say, "We are managing." Ifani became quieter on the phone. When I asked about school, he would say, "It's fine." When I asked about girls, he would laugh too quickly. I told myself they were tired of the distance. I told myself that 6 years is a long time to be apart. I told myself that when I finally returned, everything would be fine. I started saving for my ticket. I worked extra shifts. I sold the small gold chain my grandmother had given me. I stopped sending money for 3 months to save for the flight. When I called to explain, my mother said, "It's okay, my daughter. We understand." Her voice was too calm. But I was too tired to notice. I booked my flight. I was coming home. The plane landed in Lagos on a Thursday morning. The heat hit me like a memory. The smell of dust and diesel and frying plantains, things I had not known I missed until they were inside my nose again. I took a bus to Onitsha, then another bus to Umadam. The road had changed. More houses. More shops. A new church with a bright blue roof. But the mango tree at the entrance of our compound was still there. It was bigger now, older, like me. I paid the driver. I picked up my suitcase. I walked through the gate. And I stopped. The house was not the house I had left. It was bigger. 2 stories. A fresh coat of paint. A new car sat under a carport, not an old car, a new one. I stood there, frozen. My mother had told me they were managing. My mother had told me my money was going to hospital bills and school fees. My mother had told me the truth, just not all of it. Amara stands frozen at the gate. Her mother comes out of the house, healthy, strong, wearing a new expensive wrapper. She is not the sick woman Amara left behind. She embraces Amara, crying, "My daughter is home." But Amara does not embrace back. She asks, "Mama, where did this house come from?" Her mother's face shifts, just for a moment. "We saved. You sent money. We managed." But Amara knows numbers. She knows exactly how much she sent. It was enough for hospital bills and school fees and maybe a small roof repair. It was not enough for this. Not nearly enough. That evening, she walks through the village. Neighbors greet her warmly, but their eyes hold something, pity, or warning, or knowledge. Then she sees him. Her brother Ifani. He is not wearing school clothes. He is wearing designer sneakers, gold chains, and driving a motorcycle. He is 18 now. He should be in university. He is not. My mother came out of the house. She was not the woman I had left. She was healthy, strong, even. Her skin was bright. Her wrapper was new, expensive, the kind sold in the city. She ran toward me with her arms open, crying, "Amara. My daughter. You are home." I let her hold me. But I did not hold her back. I was still staring at the house. "Mama," I said. "Where did this come from?" She pulled back, wiping her eyes. "We saved, my daughter. You sent money. We managed." I looked at the car. I looked at the 2 stories. I looked at the satellite dish. I knew numbers. I had been counting euros and naira for 6 years. What I had sent was enough for survival, not for this. Not for any of this. Something was wrong. I could feel it in my chest, cold and heavy. I walked inside the house. The furniture was new, leather sofas, a flat-screen television, a fridge that hummed quietly. My mother's room had an air conditioner. An air conditioner. I had slept under a mosquito net for years in Madrid while she had an air conditioner. I asked her again, "Mama, how?" She sat me down. She made me tea. She told me that God had blessed them. That they had made good investments. That a man from the city had helped them start a small business. I asked her who. She waved her hand. "Someone your brother knows." "My brother. Ifani." I had not seen him yet. "Where is Ifani?" I asked. My mother's face shifted, just for a moment. "He will be back soon. He went to the market." She changed the subject. She asked about Spain. She asked if I had eaten. She asked if I had met any man. I answered with one word. My mind was not in the room. My mind was doing calculations. That evening, I walked through the village. I needed to see. I needed to understand. The women at the boho greeted me with warm hugs. "Amara. You are back. We have missed you. But their eyes held something else, a flicker, a hesitation. Mama Chinedu pulled me aside. She was an old woman who had known me since I was born. She smelled of shea butter and would smoke. She said, "My daughter, you have done well. You sent money for 6 years. You are a good girl." I thanked her. She looked at me for a long moment. Then she said, "But when a child sends money from abroad, the family must account for it. That is the duty of the family." She walked away before I could ask what she meant. I stood there, the red dust rising around my feet. The duty of the family. What duty? And whose duty had failed? Then I saw him. Ifeanyi. He was riding a motorcycle, a brand new red one, the kind that cost more than I made in a year. He wore designer sneakers, a gold chain around his neck, and sunglasses even though the sun was setting. He parked in front of the house and jumped off. "Sister." He ran to me, his arms wide. He was tall now, a man, not the boy I had left. He hugged me tightly. I hugged him back. But when I pulled away, I looked at him. Really looked. "Ifeanyi, why are you not in school?" His smile flickered. "I finished school, sister." "University." He laughed. "University is not for everyone." My heart dropped. "What do you mean?" He looked at the house. He looked at the motorcycle. He said, "Sister, let's go inside. We have a lot to talk about." I followed him. My legs felt heavy. The cold thing in my chest was growing. It was spreading into my arms, my stomach, my throat. I was afraid of what I would hear. But I had come 6 years to hear it. Inside, we sat in the parlor. My mother, Ifeanyi, and me. My mother was quiet now. Ifeanyi was the one who spoke. He told me about the business, a man from the city, who had approached him 2 years ago. The man needed local partners to help with logistics. The money was good. Very good. Ifeanyi had stopped going to school. He had started working with this man. My mother had known. She had encouraged it. But what business? I asked. What logistics? Ifeanyi looked at my mother. She looked at the floor. He said, "Sister, we don't ask too many questions. The money comes. That is what matters." I stood up. "The money I sent, what happened to it?" My mother finally spoke. "We used it to start. To buy the first things. The man helped us grow." I stared at her. "You used my money, the money for your health, for his school, to start a business you cannot even name." No one answered. I walked out of the house. I sat under the mango tree. And I cried. Not because I was weak. Because 6 years is a long time to sacrifice for people who were building a house on your back without telling you. Amara does not sleep that night. In the morning, she begins asking questions. She goes to the village market. She talks to shopkeepers, to neighbors, to anyone who will speak to her. Slowly, the picture becomes clear. The man from the city is not a businessman, he is a smuggler. He moves goods across the border, goods that should not be moved. Ifeanyi is not a logistics partner, he is a mule. And her mother knew. The villagers knew. Everyone knew except Amara, who was 6,000 kilometers away, scrubbing floors, thinking she was saving her family. When she confronts Ifeanyi, he gets angry. "You left, sister. You were not here. You do not know what hunger does to a person." She looks at him and sees a stranger. The boy she raised is gone. In his place is a man who has chosen crime and calls it survival. I did not sleep that night. I lay on a bed in my mother's new house, a bed softer than anything I had slept on in 6 years, and I stared at the ceiling. In the morning, I woke before everyone. I tied my wrapper and walked to the village market. The market women knew me. Some had watched me grow up. I went to Mama Rose, who sold vegetables and knew everyone's secrets. "Mama, what business is my brother in?" She looked at me for a long time. Then she leaned close. Her voice was low, careful. "My daughter, your brother works with men who bring things from across the border. Things that should not be brought." My heart began to race. "What things?" She looked around. "Cars. Sometimes other things. I do not ask. But the money is not clean, Amara. You should know that." I walked from store to store. Each woman gave me a piece of the puzzle. Mama Rose told me about the cars, expensive cars that appeared in the village at night and disappeared by morning. Nkechi at the provisions shop told me about the strangers, men from the north who came and went without speaking to anyone. The old man who sold firewood told me about the night the police came. They searched the compound, but your brother was warned. He had already moved everything. I felt sick. The police. My brother had been visited by the police. And no one had told me. I had been sending money to a family that was hiding criminals, not from the village, but from me. They had kept me in the dark because they knew I would stop the money. They needed my money to fuel their illegal business. I was not a daughter. I was an ATM. I returned to the house in the afternoon. Ifani was sitting on the veranda, his gold chain catching the sun. I sat beside him. I did not shout. I asked, quietly, "How long?" He looked at me. "How long what? How long have you been smuggling?" His face changed. The smile disappeared. He looked at his hands. 2 years. 2 years. I repeated it, letting the weight of it settle. 2 years of my money. 2 years of your mother lying to me. 2 years of you putting this family in danger. He looked up at me, and suddenly he was angry. "You left, sister. You were not here. You do not know what hunger does to a person. We were dying. The money you sent, it was not enough. It was never enough. So I found a way. I am not ashamed." I looked at him, this stranger in my brother's body, and I felt something inside me break. Not my heart. Something deeper. Something that had been holding me together for 6 years. It was never enough. Those words echoed in my head. It was never enough. I had starved myself. I had worked when I was sick. I had missed weddings and funerals and the chance to fall in love. I had sent money for 6 years, every month, every single month, and he was telling me it was never enough. I stood up. I walked into the house. I found my mother in the kitchen. She was cooking, pretending everything was normal. I said, "You knew." She did not turn around. "You knew he was smuggling. You knew the police came. You knew everything. And you let me keep sending money. You let me believe you were sick. You let me believe he was in school." She turned. Her face was wet with tears. "Amara, I was trying to protect him." I laughed. A bitter, broken laugh. "Protect him? Mama, you used me. You used me to protect him. There is a difference." I left the house again. I walked to the edge of the village, to the old church where I used to pray as a child. The church was empty. Dust motes floated in the afternoon light. I knelt on the worn wooden floor. I did not pray. I did not have words. I just knelt there, my forehead on the wood, and let the silence hold me. I thought about the girl who had left 6 years ago, so full of hope, so sure that sacrifice meant something. I thought about the woman who had returned, tired, betrayed, but not broken. Not yet. I thought about what my grandmother used to say, "The road to hell is paved with good intentions." My intentions had been good. My family's intentions had been selfish. And somewhere between those two things, I had lost 6 years of my life. I stood up. I dusted off my knees. I walked back to the compound. I had a decision to make. Amara gathers the village elders. She does not do it for revenge, she does it because she needs witnesses. She stands before them and tells everything: the 6 years of work, the money sent, the house built, the car bought, the smuggling business. She asks her mother and brother to account for every naira. Ifoni tries to defend himself, but the elders are silent. The oldest elder, Papa Nosu, speaks: a family that eats with two mouths, one that asks and one that steals, will eventually choke. He orders Ifoni to return all the money Amara sent that was used for illegal purposes. But Ifoni cannot. The money is gone, spent on the house, the car, the lifestyle. Amara looks at her family. She says, "I am not here for the money. I am here for the truth. And now that I have it, I am leaving. I will not send another kobo. I will not come back. You built this house on my back. Now you must live in it without me." The next morning, I went to the village square. I asked the oldest elder, Papa Nosu, to call a meeting. He was a man of 80-something years, with eyes that had seen too much and a voice that had settled disputes for decades. He looked at me, then at my mother's house, then back at me. He nodded. By noon, the village had gathered under the great Udola tree. The elders sat on their stools. The women stood behind them. The men leaned against trees. I stood in the center. My mother and Ifoni were called. They came. They sat on a bench facing the elders. I began to speak. I told them everything: the 6 years, the 2 jobs, the money sent every month. I told them about the house I had not built, the car I had not bought, the smuggling I had not known about. I told them that I had been used. When I finished, the square was silent. Papa Nosu spoke first. His voice was slow, like water over stones. "Amara, we have watched you grow. We watched you live. We watched you send money. We also watched what happened here. Some of us warned your mother. She did not listen." He turned to my mother. "Ngozi, you have a daughter who worked like a slave to save this family. And you repaid her with lies." My mother began to cry. "Papa, I was trying to protect my son." Papa Nosu's voice did not soften. A mother does not protect one child by sacrificing another. That is not protection. That is theft. The words hung in the air. Theft. He had called it what it was. Not mismanagement. Not poor judgment. Theft. My mother covered her face. Ifoni stared at the ground. The villagers whispered. I stood still, my hands folded. I did not feel triumph. I felt a cold, quiet peace. Ifoni stood up. His face was red. "You all sit here judging me, but you do not know what it is like to be hungry. You do not know what it is like to watch your mother suffer while your sister is far away sending money that is never enough. I did what I had to do." Papa Nosu raised his hand. "Sit down, boy." Ifoni did not sit. "I will not sit. I am not a child anymore." An elder grabbed his arm. He shook it off. The villagers began to murmur. I stepped forward. "Ifoni." He looked at me. "Sit down." Something in my voice made him pause. He sat. I turned to the elders. I do not want him punished. I want the truth to be spoken. That is all. The elders conferred quietly. Then Papa Nwosu announced, Ifoni must return every kobo that was sent by his sister and used for illegal purposes. Ifoni's face went pale. "But I cannot. The money is gone." Papa Nwosu looked at Ifeanyi without pity. Then you will walk. You will sell the car. You will sell the motorcycle. You will sell the gold around your neck. You will pay your sister back, not because she needs the money, but because a man must account for what he has taken. Ifeanyi looked at me. His eyes were wet. Sister, I am sorry. I looked at him, this stranger in my brother's body, and I felt something that surprised me. Not anger. Not forgiveness either. Something in between. Something like sorrow. Sorry does not return 6 years, Ifeanyi. Sorry does not give me back the night I cried myself to sleep in Madrid. Sorry does not make me young again. He looked down. My mother was crying silently. The villagers watched. I turned to the elders. I am not here for the money. I am here for the truth. And now that I have it, I am leaving. I will not send another kobo. I will not come back. The square was silent. I walked away from the square. No one followed me. I went to the house. I packed my bag, the same bag I had arrived with. I did not take anything from the house. Not a single thing. The money I had sent had built this house, but I would not sleep in it another night. My mother found me at the gate. She was crying, holding my arm. Amara, please. Do not live like this. You are my daughter. I looked at her. Mama, I was your daughter when I was in Madrid scrubbing floors. I was your daughter when I was sending money every month. But you were not my mother. A mother does not lie to her child for 2 years. She let go of my arm. I walked through the gate. I did not look back. The villagers watched me go. Some called my name. Some shook their heads. Some cried. I did not turn around. I walked to the main road. I flagged down a bus. I got on. I sat by the window. And as the bus pulled away from Umadim, I let myself cry. Not because I was sad. Because I was free. Amara returns to Lagos. She does not go back to Spain, not yet. She needs time. She stays with a friend, rests, thinks. She writes down everything, every memory, every betrayal, every lesson. She realizes that she is not angry anymore. She is simply done. She starts a small business selling African fabrics online. It grows slowly. She makes enough to live. She reconnects with old friends, makes new ones. She learns to laugh again. A year later, she receives a letter from Umadim. Her mother has sold the car. Ifeanyi has started a legitimate trade. They are paying back the money, not because she asked, but because the village elders demanded it. She does not respond. She does not visit. She has forgiven them, but forgiveness does not mean return. She has built a new life, not on anyone's back, but on her own 2 feet. She is 29 years old. She is not broken. She is not bitter. She is free. I did not go back to Spain immediately. I needed time to rest, time to think, time to remember who I was without the weight of sending money every month. I stayed with a friend in Lagos. For the first week, I did nothing. I slept. I ate. I walked on the beach. I stared at the ocean and let my mind go quiet. The second week, I started writing. I wrote down everything, every memory, every betrayal, every lesson. I filled 3 notebooks. Writing was not healing, exactly. It was more like unpacking. I had been carrying so much for so long that I had forgotten what my own shoulders felt like without the weight. As I wrote, I began to see the patterns. I had been the responsible one, the fixer, the one who sacrificed. And my family had let me. Not because they were monsters, because I had taught them that I would always carry whatever they gave me. That was the hardest truth to face. I started a small business. I had always loved fabrics, the colors, the textures, the stories woven into every pattern. I bought Ankara from a market in Lagos, took photos with my phone, and posted them online. The first month, I sold nothing. The second month, I sold 2 pieces. The third month, 10. By the end of the year, I had enough customers to pay my rent. I was not rich. But I was not dependent on anyone. That was the important part. I learned something about myself during that year. I learned that I was good at building things. I had spent 6 years building my family's house. Now I was building my own, not with bricks and cement, but with fabric and shipping labels and customer messages that said, "I love this pattern, thank you." Every sale was a small victory. Every repeat customer was a small miracle. I was not sending money abroad anymore. I was keeping it. And I was not ashamed. A year passed. I did not contact my family. They did not contact me, at first. Then my mother started calling. I did not answer. She sent messages. "Amara, I am sorry. Please forgive me. I am old. I want to see my daughter." I read them. I did not reply. Ifeanyi sent a message too. "Sister, I have stopped the business. I am learning tailoring. Papa Nwosu said I must. I am sorry for everything." I read it 3 times. I did not reply. I was not punishing them. I was protecting myself. Forgiveness and access are not the same thing. You can forgive someone and still not let them back into your life. You can love someone and still keep your distance. I had learned that the hard way. I had spent 6 years learning that love without boundaries is not love, it is slavery. I was free now. I was not going back. One day, a letter came from Umadim. It was from Papa Nwosu. He wrote that my mother had sold the car. Ifeanyi had sold the motorcycle. They had sold the gold chain. They were sending money to an account in my name, not because I had asked, but because the elders had demanded it. "They are learning," he wrote. "It is slow. But they are learning." I held the letter for a long time. I did not feel satisfaction. I did not feel anger. I felt something simpler, acknowledgement. They were paying back what they had taken. Not the years, those were gone forever. But the money. The symbol. They were trying. That was something. But it was not enough to make me return. I wrote back to Papa Nwosu. I thanked him for his wisdom. I said I was well. I said I was building a life. I did not ask about my mother or brother. I did not say when I would visit. I signed my name. That was all. Today, I am 29 years old. I have a small business that feeds me. I have friends who love me. I have a small apartment that is mine, not fancy, not big, but mine. I do not send money abroad anymore. I do not answer calls from numbers I do not recognize. I do not carry guilt that does not belong to me. The girl who left Umadim 6 years ago thought that love meant sacrifice. She thought that being a good daughter meant giving until there was nothing left. She was wrong. Love is not sacrifice. Love is reciprocity. Love is being seen. Love is not being used. I learned that late. But I learned it. And now I tell this story not for revenge, not for pity, but so that someone else, someone who is sending money, someone who is carrying a family on their back, someone who is tired, might hear it and stop. Put down the weight. Look at who is holding the other end of the rope. If they are pulling toward you, stay. If they are tying knots, run. I ran. And I am still running. But now I run toward something, not away from it. I run toward myself.